Hey everybody, Dan Moran here from Concierge Diamonds. Just had a question emailed to me about girdle thicknesses and how they affect the look of a stone. So what's the girdle? If this is your diamond, the girdle is this line that goes around the center. It separates the crown from the pavilion. Think of the girdle as the diamond's equator, right? It cuts the northern hemisphere from the southern hemisphere. So you will see on grading reports that there are various grades assigned to these girdles. And there's two elements to the grade. One is the girdle thickness, how thick or thin the girdle is. And the other one is the finish of the girdle. So the thickness can go anywhere from extremely thin, very thin, thin, medium, slightly thick, thick, very thick, extremely thick, right? That's plain English. It's pretty straightforward what that means. The other side of the grading is it can be faceted, where the girdle's been cut into facets that go around like little choppy lines all the way around the stone. It can be bearded, which is to say it's a rough girdle with little rough bits that extend up and down a little bit if you look under a microscope. Or it can be rough, which is just left natural as it was. 99 times out of 100 these days, the girdle will be faceted. You'll almost always see it faceted because that's what's going to produce the best color of the diamond. So putting aside the faceting, because it'll almost always be a faceted girdle, what thickness girdle are you looking for? Well, I would urge you in general to try to avoid the word extremely. If something's extremely thin, that area where it's thin can be prone to chipping. If something's extremely thick, not only are you wasting diamond because that diamond will stack up vertically and you don't see it, so you're paying for carat weight that you can't see, but it can reduce the optical efficiency of the stone and make that area a little less bright. You kind of want girdles that are more in the middle, somewhere between slightly thin and slightly thick, for kind of the maximum balance between durability and light performance. Now, the exceptions to that can be in the elongated stones, ovals, pears, marquise, stuff like that. You might see extremely thick listed somewhere on those girdles, especially in pears and marquise, because clever cutters will leave it really thick at the tips, because in the tip you have almost no horizontal area, so they leave vertical area, which helps strengthen that area of the stone and make it less prone to chipping. So extremely thick can be okay depending on where it is on the stone, but in general, try to stick in the slightly range, right? Slightly thin to slightly thick. Medium is great. Very thin, very thick, not necessarily a problem. Try to avoid extremely. I hope that helps. Girdles are a pretty subtle aspect of diamond grading, not something you really need to worry about too much for the most part, but since you asked, I thought I'd fully inform you. Again, Dan Moran here from Concierge Diamonds. Feel free to ask any questions and I'll answer them for you. Thanks.